the apple orchard. Now, an apple orchard is a farm where they grow lots and lots of apples. There's no animals here, but they do have lots of tractors and they have lots of trees for as far as you can see that have lots and lots of apples. So we're going to go ahead and pick some, and we're going to talk about the different kinds of apples you can find at the apple orchard. This is called a Cortland apple. There's different varieties of apples and they're all for different uses. But this is a Cortland apple and it's really yummy. Now when we pick an apple, we don't just pull it off the tree. We have to be very careful and kind of pull up with our thumb and pop, off comes the apple. And then we can put it in our bag. Wow, apple picking is kind of fun. Oh, wow. That one got a lot of leaves. As you can see, the farm, the apple tree farm, does actually have a tractor. And they use that to take the apples up to the main building. So there's people out here picking apples, and then the tractor takes them up to the main building. So now we're in the Gala apples, which are different from Cortlands. They're different kinds, so they taste a little bit different and they're used for different things. So here's one of our Cortland apples that we just picked. And now I'm going to pick a Gala apple, and you can see that it's a little bit different. It's a little bit yellower and the red is a little bit lighter. And so they look a little bit different. And when we taste them, they're going to taste a little bit different too. I found two more. Where'd the guy with the bag go? So we can see these are Empire apples, and they're a little bit darker even than the Cortlands. And here's our sign, Empire apples. Hi. I found some good ones back here. Oh dear. I'm finding a lot of them back here. So when we put our apples in, we have to set them very gently, because if we drop them, then they bruise, and a bruised apple is kind of brown and yucky. So when we set them into the bag, we just gently set them. Never throw an apple. Woo! The other thing you have to be careful of when you're picking an apple is you want to pick ones that are nice and red and all good. You don't want to pick ones that have big brown spots on them, so that they'll be all ready to eat. We're over by a part of the orchard that has some young trees. Now these trees aren't ready to grow apples yet. They aren't big enough. They're not grown up yet. We can see that they're taller than me, so you know, you might not call it a baby tree, but it really kind of is a baby tree. It's not as big as the other trees, and so it isn't growing apples just yet. But when it gets a little bit bigger, of course, it'll be full of apples. Now we're in the part of the orchard that has golden delicious apples. Can you tell why they're called that? Yes, they are golden. And of course, like all apples, they are delicious. So let's pick a few of these. They are definitely more golden. Not so much red as the other apples. Look at there. It looks delicious and golden. Now, as you can see, some of the golden delicious have a little bit of red on them, but not very much. So you can really tell them apart from the other apples because they definitely look different. Now I'm going to go set them very gently in the bag with the other ones. And when I get home, I'm going to know which ones are the golden delicious right away. So here's another kind of apple called a Jonagold apple. And you can see them all growing up here in the trees. They look a little bit less red than the Cortlands we were picking earlier, but they're not golden like the Golden Delicious, so they're somewhere in between. Here we are by the Macintosh. Over there, there's some Jonathans, and over here, there's Macintosh. Macintosh are really a kind of apple. So there are Macintosh computers, but really before there were Macintosh computers, there were Macintosh apples. This is inside the cider mill, where they're chopping up the apples and pressing them to turn it into cider, which is kind of like apple juice, except it's yummier because it's very rich and full of lots of apple goodness. You can see this machine is moving to press the apples. And you can see a whole bunch of chopped up apples down there. Wow. Now you can see them squirting chopped up apple in, so they can squeeze the chopped up apple and make some more cider. The machine is squeezing and juice is coming out. Underneath, you can see all the pieces of squashed apple being taken out by the machinery underneath. There's a machine that's kind of scooping it up and sliding it out through a hole under the building outside. Now we can see the juice going through all the bottles getting filled. These are half-gallon bottles getting filled. The machine with the green rings is filling the bottles, and then it goes to another machine that screws on the orange caps. Now count as they go past that silver pole. How many are going through in 1 minute? You can see there's a person over here putting bottles in. They come in these big bags, and the person is loading the bottles into the machine. And on the other hand, people are loading the bottles that are full into boxes. And then the boxes get stacked up and loaded on a truck. Pretty efficient, don't you think? So now it's time to buy some cider and donuts. That sounds delicious, doesn't it? It's been a great trip to the apple orchard to see all the apples and see how cider is made. And here's all the trees as we leave, just growing in the sun.